the Mind Over Stoic audio series.
Hello, and welcome to the Mind Over Stoic audio series. We thank you for being here. In this episode, we'll explore the incredible story of Epictetus's early years, his introduction to Stoic philosophy, and his transformation from a mere possession to a revered teacher. A man who transformed adversity into profound philosophical insight. Whether you're a long-time follower of Stoicism or just curious about its principles, this episode promises to enlighten and inspire. So, grab a cup of coffee, find a comfortable spot, and join me as we embark on a journey through the life of Epictetus. Imagine being born into a world where your freedom is not your own, where your daily existence is dictated by the whims of another. This was the reality for Epictetus, born a slave in the bustling ancient city of Hierapolis in 55 CE. Despite his status and the harsh conditions he endured, Epictetus rose above his circumstances to become a beacon of wisdom and resilience. His journey from slavery to philosophical greatness is not just a testament to the power of the human spirit, but also a profound lesson in the art of living a fulfilled life. To truly understand the wisdom and resilience of Epictetus, we must first travel back to the ancient world, to the city of Hierapolis in Phrygia, where our story begins in 55 CE. Hierapolis, a city renowned for its hot springs and vibrant culture, was part of the Roman Empire, a sprawling and diverse civilization marked by its grandeur and its inequities. Epictetus was born into slavery, a condition that defined the beginning of his life. His exact birth name remains unknown, as Epictetus simply means acquired or owned, a stark reminder of his status. From an early age, he belonged to Epictetus, a wealthy freedman who had served Nero, the infamous Roman emperor known for his tyranny and excess. Living under the rule of Epictetus was far from easy. Historical accounts suggest that Epictetus, despite his own journey from slavery to freedom, treated his slaves harshly. Epictetus himself endured significant physical abuse. One story tells of how Epictetus twisted his leg so severely that it became permanently lame. Yet, even in the face of such cruelty, Epictetus exhibited remarkable composure and acceptance, famously remarking, "If you proceed, you will break my leg." And when his leg was indeed broken, he simply said, "I told you so." This early experience of suffering and resilience planted the seeds for Epictetus's later philosophical insights. He began to develop a profound understanding of the Stoic principle that while we may not control external events, we can always control our responses to them. But how did a slave, considered property and devoid of personal rights, come to study philosophy? Epictetus, despite his cruelty, allowed Epictetus to attend lectures by prominent Stoic philosophers. Among these was Musonius Rufus, a respected teacher who saw potential in the young slave. Under Musonius's tutelage, Epictetus immersed himself in the teachings of Stoicism, a school of thought that emphasizes virtue, reason, and living in harmony with nature. Epictetus's time with Musonius Rufus was transformative. He absorbed the core Stoic beliefs that would later define his own teachings. The importance of distinguishing between what is within our control and what is not, the value of inner freedom, and the necessity of living according to reason and virtue. Despite the limitations imposed by his status as a slave, Epictetus's mind was free and his spirit undaunted. As we reflect on Epictetus's early life, it becomes clear that his experiences as a slave were not just a backdrop to his philosophy, but were integral to its formation. The harsh realities he faced provided him with a unique perspective on suffering, resilience, and the power of the human spirit. Epictetus's journey into the world of philosophy began with a stroke of fortune amidst his unfortunate circumstances. Despite Epaphroditus's harsh treatment, he allowed his slaves certain intellectual freedoms. This included permission for Epictetus to attend lectures by prominent philosophers in Rome. It was in this intellectually vibrant environment that Epictetus encountered Musonius Rufus, a respected Stoic philosopher known for his teachings on ethics and practical philosophy. Musonius Rufus quickly recognized Epictetus's potential. Unlike other students who may have been free citizens, Epictetus brought with him a unique perspective shaped by his experiences of suffering and resilience. Under Musonius's mentorship, Epictetus was introduced to the core tenets of Stoicism, a school of philosophy founded in Athens by Zeno of Citium. Stoicism emphasizes the development of self-control and fortitude as a means to overcome destructive emotions. It teaches that virtue, the highest good, is based on knowledge, and that the wise live in harmony with the divine reason that governs nature. Imagine Epictetus, a slave, sitting among free men and absorbing teachings that spoke directly to his soul. Musonius taught that true freedom lies not in external circumstances, but in mastering one's own mind and emotions. For Epictetus, who had no control over his physical freedom, this idea was revolutionary. He learned that while he could not change his status as a slave, he could cultivate an inner freedom through reason and virtue. Epictetus's studies were intense and transformative. He immersed himself in the writings of earlier Stoics like Chrysippus and Seneca, and engaged deeply with the fundamental questions of human existence. What is within our control? How should we live in accordance with nature? What constitutes true happiness? Musonius Rufus emphasized the practical application of philosophy. He taught that philosophy is not an abstract theory, but a guide for living a virtuous life. This approach resonated with Epictetus, who began to view his own suffering as a series of tests and opportunities to practice Stoic principles. He learned to maintain equanimity in the face of pain, to focus on what he could control, his own thoughts and actions, and to let go of what he could not. Epictetus's time with Musonius Rufus also instilled in him the importance of teaching and sharing wisdom. He saw philosophy not just as a personal pursuit, but as a communal responsibility. This conviction would later shape his own approach as a teacher, when he established his school in Nicopolis. As Epictetus absorbed the Stoic teachings, he began to develop his own voice within the tradition. His personal experiences of adversity gave him a unique perspective on the Stoic ideas of resilience, control, and acceptance. He started to see that every challenge was an opportunity to apply and deepen his understanding of Stoicism. The period under Musonius's mentorship was crucial. It laid the intellectual and emotional foundation for Epictetus's later works and teachings. It also demonstrated the transformative power of philosophy, not just as an academic discipline, but as a way of life. In the next segment, we will explore how Epictetus transitioned from being a student to becoming a teacher and philosopher in his own right. We'll look at how he established his school in Nicopolis and how his teachings continued to evolve, gaining a dedicated following and leaving an indelible mark on the world of philosophy. If you're pleased with our content that we are bringing you on Stoicism, please help us out by subscribing, downloading, and sharing our episodes. This will encourage us and allow us to continue our journey ahead in bringing you the most Stoic content available. We will have an exclusive video series coming up, and we have a ton of new resources each week on our website, mindoverstoic.com. Also, for subscribing to our newsletter, you receive a free full-color ebook titled A Stoic's Guide for Life. We appreciate all of you. Welcome back to the Mind Over Stoic. In our previous segments, we explored the early life of Epictetus and his introduction to Stoic philosophy under the mentorship of Musonius Rufus. Now, let's delve into the next pivotal chapter of his life: his transition from slavery to freedom and his journey as a philosopher and teacher. Epictetus's path to freedom was not extensively documented, but it is believed that he gained his freedom sometime after the death of Nero in 68 CE. The exact circumstances of his manumission are unclear, but what is clear is that this transition marked the beginning of a new phase in his life. As a freedman, Epictetus was no longer bound by the chains of physical slavery, but his philosophical journey was just beginning. After gaining his freedom, Epictetus moved to Nicopolis in northwestern Greece. It was here, in this serene and culturally rich environment, that he established his own school of philosophy. Epictetus was not just a philosopher, he was a teacher who dedicated his life to sharing the wisdom he had gained through his experiences and studies. His school attracted students from all over the Roman Empire, drawn by the reputation of Epictetus as a living embodiment of Stoic principles. Epictetus's teaching style was distinctive. Unlike some philosophers who focused on theoretical discourse, Epictetus emphasized practical philosophy. His teachings were not about abstract theories, but about how to live a virtuous and fulfilling life. He believed that philosophy should be a guide for daily living, a toolkit for facing life's challenges with wisdom and resilience. One of the core concepts Epictetus taught was the dichotomy of control. He famously asserted that we must distinguish between what is within our control and what is not. According to Epictetus, our own actions, thoughts, and attitudes are within our control, while external events, the actions of others, and the outcomes of our efforts are not. This insight is captured in his powerful statement, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Epictetus also taught the importance of focusing on our own virtue and character. He emphasized that true happiness and fulfillment come from living in accordance with reason and nature, from cultivating virtues like wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. He encouraged his students to practice self-discipline, to accept what they cannot change, and to always act with integrity. Another key aspect of Epictetus's philosophy was the idea of inner freedom. Even though he had experienced the harsh realities of physical slavery, Epictetus believed that true freedom is a state of mind. He taught that by mastering our desires and emotions, by aligning our will with nature, we can achieve a state of inner freedom that external circumstances cannot touch. This concept resonated deeply with his students, many of whom were facing their own struggles and seeking ways to find peace and strength within. Epictetus's teachings were preserved by his student, Arrian, who compiled them into the Discourses and the Enchiridion. These works provide a detailed account of Epictetus's philosophy and his approach to teaching. They offer practical advice on how to apply Stoic principles in everyday life, addressing topics such as how to deal with adversity, how to maintain equanimity, and how to live a life of virtue and purpose. The school of Epictetus in Nicopolis became a center of Stoic thought, attracting a diverse group of students, from young men seeking guidance to older individuals looking for wisdom. His teachings influenced not only his immediate followers, but also future generations of philosophers, including the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, who often quoted Epictetus in his own reflections. And that brings us to the end of this episode of Mind Over Stoic. We've journeyed through the life of Epictetus, a man who rose from the harsh realities of slavery to become one of the most influential philosophers of all time. His story is not just a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, but also a powerful example of how we can transcend our circumstances through the mastery of our own minds. Epictetus taught us that true freedom comes from within. By focusing on what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and attitudes, and letting go of what we cannot, we can cultivate a profound sense of inner peace and resilience. His teachings on the dichotomy of control, inner freedom, and living in accordance with nature provide us with a timeless framework for navigating the complexities of life. As we reflect on Epictetus's journey, we see that his experiences of suffering and adversity were not obstacles, but opportunities for growth and learning. His life reminds us that even in the face of great challenges, we have the power to choose our responses and to live with virtue and integrity. Incorporating Epictetus's wisdom into our own lives can be transformative. By practicing regular self-reflection, we can become more aware of our thoughts and emotions and make conscious choices that align with our values. By embracing the Stoic principle of amor fati, or love of fate, we can learn to accept our circumstances with grace and use them as opportunities for growth. And by striving to live in harmony with nature and cultivating virtues like wisdom, courage, and justice, we can lead lives of purpose and fulfillment. I hope you found this exploration of Epictetus's life and teachings as enlightening and inspiring as I did. His philosophy offers us a powerful toolkit for facing life's challenges with resilience and wisdom, and for finding true happiness and peace within ourselves. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing to Mind Over Stoic, leaving a review, and sharing it with others who might benefit from Epictetus's timeless wisdom. Your support helps us continue to explore the teachings of Stoic philosophers and to bring practical insights into our everyday lives. Join us next time as we delve into the teachings of another great Stoic philosopher, Seneca. We'll explore his letters and essays, which offer practical advice for living a virtuous and resilient life in the face of adversity. Until then, stay mindful, stay resilient, and remember, the power to live a fulfilling life lies within you. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to our next journey together on the Mind Over Stoic.